sir, for so beautifully putting the expectations from freshers. It would definitely help we academicians to shape our students accordingly. Moving ahead, we are pleased to have with us Mr. Rajiv Dev, Vice President, Digital Transformation, SciPage. Sir has completed education from PC Chandigarh and holds a Bachelor of Engineering in Production. He is also a growth hacker at Fujitsu Consulting, having more than 33 years of experience across IT industry with successful track record of bringing change. He drives innovation-led execution by continuous adaptation of process, technology and governance. So with pleasure, we call upon Mr. Rajiv Dev to contemplate us on the upcoming trend of IoT, Internet of Things. Please, sir.
Good afternoon. I know I'm standing between you and your lunch, but I won't make you more hungry. By the way, that's a joke. While I was getting ready this morning to come to the institute, I got a little early because actually I work very close to my home, 5 minutes to be precise. So can't ask more, right? So my mornings are very relaxed, but this morning obviously I had come to the other side of the town, so I was a bit early and also excited that I have to talk in front of 2,000 young students. So my wife somehow saw the excitement as well as I'm a little early, and she asked me what's going on, where are you going today? So I told her, I'm going to talk in front of a lot of young students. And she said, she know me, so when it comes to talking, I keep going on and on and on, right? So she said one thing, unko bore mat karna, right? So just to the point, they are coming out of college, they are moving to the corporate world, so don't, bore them. So now she's a better half, so I have to accept what she said. So while on my way, I had to change my script a little bit. So I thought I'll start with a story. That's the easiest way to kind of not bore you people. And the story I found very relevant because you are engineers, because some of you are also doing management. You probably would have heard this story, but some of you maybe not. I heard this story for the first time 2 years back, and it changed my perspective. So I wanted to definitely talk about it. I don't know how many of you have read this book called Future of Work. If not, then please, if you get a time, it's a very thick book, it will take you time to read, but it's very relevant for the people who are coming out of college today. So just do read this book. The story is taken from that book only, and it's about the person who invented chess. All of you know that chess was invented in India, right or wrong? Chess was invented in India, or? Alright, so let me tell you, it was invented in India, and the person who invented chess, when he presented it for the first time to the king was extremely happy. And he said, I'm going to give you whatever you ask for. Right? And this person was a very humble person, and he said, no, I don't want any of rice. Right? So in the first box you put 1 grain of rice, second box you put 2, third you put 4, 8, so on and so forth. So the king was like, you could have asked for much more. Right? I mean, I'm a king, so you should have asked as per what I can give. But anyway, you ask for it, I'll give you that. Now, I couldn't imagine when I was reading this story that what does it mean? Basically, to cut short the story, the king has to sell his kingdom to get the number of grains of rice. Some of you obviously will do the math to find that number. I don't have that number. Some of you will go to Google and try to find that number. I did not try to find the number. I believe the story that he had to sell the kingdom means he had to sell the kingdom, which means the number is pretty high. But why I'm trying to tell you this story is that today we are sitting on the second half of that chessboard, and second half of the chessboard becomes very messier. That's where the pace of change you can't imagine. It's doubling at a number which is very, very high. And because we are sitting on the second half of the chessboard, and because the pace of high is so high, it's your ability to unlearn and learn quickly is what will make you survive in the industry. Unfortunately for you, the learning will not stop here. I mean, when I graduated 23 years back, I was very excited because no more learning. Done with the studies. I'm going to now work, earn money and enjoy life. Well, I don't know, that's not going to be the case with you guys, for sure. You guys will have to continuously learn and be prepared for that. Your learnings are not going to stop here. Like Dr. Aditya said, that skills are transient. So you'll have to keep acquiring that skills because we are on the second half of chessboard. So what you learn today may not be relevant tomorrow, and what you learn tomorrow may not be relevant day after. So please be prepared with that. That's an important message I wanted to give. Now let's start with what changes are happening or how these changes are happening. A lot of you, in fact all of you must be watching movies. Just raise your hand if you watch movies. I want to see how many people today watch movies. Well, that's a very good number, right? So my example is going to be very relevant. So obviously you watch movies, you book tickets, right? And the way you book tickets today versus the way our parents used to book tickets is very different, right? The advance booking window will open from 6 to 9 in the evening. You have to go stand in the line and all that. So today you use something like Book My Show. So by the way, I'm a movie freak. I watch at least 3 movies every day. So I'm a preferred customer of Book My Show. So that's why I'm taking that example. So what has Book My Show done to us? So as a customer, if you think it's a customer experience, it's giving me an experience of huge degree of convenience to book the tickets, right? But because we are engineers, we can't stop at that. We need to dig through. What has Book My Show? So let's go a little bit deeper into what has Book My Show done. So they give me an ability to book the tickets. So 3 things I'm going to talk about. They give me an ability to book the tickets anywhere. I don't have to be physically present at the counter. They give me an ability to book the ticket any time of the day. Depending on what time I want to book the ticket, I can book the ticket. They give me an ability to book the ticket on any device. Even if I don't have a PC at my home, I don't have to go to cyber cafe. I can use my mobile, I can probably use the phone, not many different options. Right, so these 3 things, anywhere, anytime, any device. You know, once again, because we are engineers, we need to go a little bit more deeper. Let's talk a little bit of a technology. What does anytime and anywhere means in technical terms? So we're talking about cloud computing. We're talking about taking the application which was sitting inside the organization, we're taking the application outside the organization, put it on the cloud so that everybody is able to access the information. Right? So cloud is an important piece of what you are going to do as you move to the corporates. Third, we talked about any device. Now what does that mean in technical term? I'm sure a lot of people would know about it. It's about mobility. Right? So talking about mobile applications. So cloud computing, mobile applications. Third thing which I haven't yet spoken and I use it very often is, if I have to watch 3 movies in a week, actually it doesn't matter, because which means I'm going to watch each and every movie that comes. But if you have to watch, if you're a once in a while watcher, I mean you want to watch a good movie. So how do you know what is good and what is not so good? Trailers, they are by the directors, so they are advertisements. So that's not a right, they are selling, right? So you need to know what people are talking about the movies, right? So social media comes into picture, right? So the application Book My Show is socially very well connected, where people go and talk about, they give a percentage rating to the movie. Bajirao Mastana, 78 Mastani, 78%, right? So that's the percentage which gives a fair idea about how this movie is doing. And today's generation, believe me, they accept social media much more than what their parents are telling, what their bosses are telling, what their teachers are telling. So social media is a very well, because it's coming from their friends, right? So social media, another important element. And the 4th important element is analytics. Majority of these movie makers today are analyzing why a particular movie is doing good in box office and why it is not. And they are analyzing humongous amount of data. Mobility is generating data, your Internet of Things is generating data, what people are talking on the social media is generating data. So they're combining all this data and analyzing the information out of it. So analytics is the 4th pillar of this generation. So let me tell you, you need to learn this word called SMAC. S for social media, M for mobile apps, A for analytics, C for cloud. And if you understand SMAC, irrespective of which industry you go to IT industry, you go to manufacturing industry, you go to financial institute, you go to trading house, irrespective of which industry you go to, the industry need to move towards SMAC. They need to make their applications compatible on social media. They make their applications compatible with mobile, move it to cloud, use social media effectively, heavy usage of analytics. So please, I mean, read more about it and understand how we can, use this beautiful piece of technology. And this is not future, this is current. Majority of the organizations today which are successful are using SMAC as a next generation. So that whatever applications they have within the organization, they are moving towards a SMAC oriented thing. So this was the first thing. I wanted to talk about three things. The second thing is actually about you as an individual. It's about the community, it's about the generation. And I don't know, so let me see. I mean, I again would want to see raise of hands. How many of you have heard the term millennial? Okay, so very few. I'm not surprised. In fact, wherever I go, I'm seeing that. So millennial is a term, and again you need to research about it. There's huge amount of research which has happened on Google. If you go, you can find tons of data about it. And the best part is you actually belong to millennial community. Anybody born after year 1982 belongs to millennial community. And you will be surprised that the personality traits of millennials are very, very different. So if you are going into the organization, there are two ways. Either organization will adapt you or you will adapt to the organization, right? There cannot be a third way. Now the beauty is every year 10% of millennial is going into the organization, and obviously 10% of what we call it baby boomers or Gen X, the earlier generation, my generation I would say, they're moving out of the organization. So organizations are becoming millennial heavy. And as the organizations become millennial heavy, organization will have to adapt to millennial and not the other way around. So it's a good news for all of you. And it's a very good news because when you go to the organization, you will hear a lot of things about how we used to do work. Obviously, adapt, I'm not saying, it's a professional competency someone talked about. That is about adaptability, right? So I'm not saying don't adapt to it, but be also cognizant of the fact that you are a community which is a very strong community and you are globally competing with millennials. Now, because I didn't see many hands, I will also have to talk about what this community is all about. What is so different about this community than probably the earlier one. So, if I can tell you about 10 things, but I'll probably narrow down to 2 or 3 things. Number one, their ability to attach and detach is like seamless. So, whether it is good or bad, I'm not talking about. That's how millennial community is, right? And because this is the community, the organizations will have to adapt to this community, and that's a message to the organizations as well, to be more successful in the future. So their ability to attach and detach is pretty high, which means if you want to get something done from this community, you have to do it fast. Otherwise, the level of interest will go down. Second trait, this community is socially on social media. When I say socially, I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, there are different meanings of social connection. On social media, this community is connected very well. So the information that they get, they may not know things, they may not have a knowledge, but they are able to get the information pretty fast through social media, and they use that social media very effectively. Right? Third thing is, and that's an interesting thing, I'm not going to debate about it, but there is IQ, there is EQ, emotional quotient. Sachidanand talks about SQ, social component quotient. There's something called TQ, technology quotient. And for some reason, this community is very strong on technology quotient. So they have the ability to use technology. They may not have ability to generate or create technology, but they have a good ability to use the technology, right? So these are some of the things which a millennial community possess. So when you go to the industry, my message here is very simple. When you go to the industry, don't try to change it, because it's something you have acquired over ages. And I would say it's the credit goes to your parents who actually did not bring the dirty part in front of you. They didn't expose you to a lot of things, a lot of dirty things in the world. So you are not carrying a baggage. You're coming with a very positive mindset. Yeah. So, and that's how you will be able to solve the problems. So you need to keep that in mind, that your original personality traits should stay with you, while the organizations also adapt. I mean, it's a win-win. Ultimately, you will have to adopt some part of yourself to the organization, the same from the other side. Third thing, in fact, Dr. Sheetal Kumar would be upset that I didn't talk about IoT. That's what I was supposed to talk about. So I don't want to get hit from him, and I will speak a little bit about IoT. But the reason I wanted to create that background is IoT is actually a combination of technology and human. You know, there's a lot of buzz around with the IoT, and you can read about IoT. It's about connecting devices, right? It's about having a global ecosystem which is fully connected to each other. But the missing piece that most of the people miss here is there is a term called machine to machine. When you say machine to machine, two machines are getting connected to each other. So both the machines are having IP, they're sitting on internet, and they talk to each other. So for example, a parking lot talks to your car. A dustbin, Mr. Sachidanand talked about that, talks to the agency which is going to pick the dustbin, right? So two machines having an IP and they are connected to each other is machine to machine. In IoT, you have to bring the human element in it. So we have a technology on one side and we have human on the other side. When you combine the two and get into the ecosystem, that is the real use of IoT. Let me try to give an example. I think that's an easy. So M to M, machine to machine, the real living example that everyone today understands is a thermostat. Right? What does thermostat do? As soon as the temperature reaches above or below a particular point, it switches off the machine. So you have a sensor which is a thermostat which is understanding what the temperature is, and you have a machine which is a geyser, and it switches off the geyser as soon as the temperature reaches above a point. If I switch on the geyser and don't switch it off, what will happen? So it will keep shutting off, shutting on, shutting off, shutting on, and the entire day my electricity consumption is still going to be very high in spite of having a thermostat. So there is a human element in between. When I am done with my bath and I am done with the hot water need, I switch off the geyser, right? What IoT says is that this human element has to get into the ecosystem so that you don't have to necessarily switch off the geyser. The machine has to understand your pattern. The machine has to understand what is the time when you need hot water, and only during that time thermostat should have a temperature of, let's say, 20 degrees centigrade. Otherwise it should come down to a normal temperature, and that's called machine learning. So long story short, Internet of Things is about connecting three things. It's about connecting machines, it's about connecting humans, and it's about cloud services. So an application or an algorithm or the whole process running on cloud, which makes this whole system a very, very seamless system to operate on. I think that's pretty much I want to talk. I would want to hear you in case you have any questions or anything that you want me to touch upon. Maybe if I have another few minutes, I don't know how I'm doing in terms of time, but if I have few minutes, please, I would put it. Okay. Thank you. All the best with all your future engagements.